A cold wind howled through the streets of New York City, whipping past the towering buildings and making people pull their coats tighter. It was late afternoon, and the sidewalks were filled with people rushing home, their eyes glued to their phones, their minds far from the world around them. No one noticed the man sitting on the curb, his back against a brick wall. His clothes were torn, his face hidden beneath a thick beard, and his hands cracked from the winter air. His name was Charlie. Charlie hadn't always been homeless. Once he had a job, a home, and a family who loved him. But life had a cruel way of turning things upside down. A few bad decisions, a stroke of bad luck, and suddenly he had nothing. Now every day was a battle, searching for food, looking for shelter, hoping someone would spare him a few coins. That day he had barely eaten. His stomach growled, but he had learned to ignore it. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a tall young man walking down the sidewalk. He was dressed well, clean white sneakers, a fitted jacket, and confidence in his step. He looked familiar, but Charlie couldn't quite place him. As the young man walked closer, Charlie took a deep breath. He never liked asking, but hunger left him no choice. "Excuse me," Charlie said, his voice rough from days without water. "Can you spare $1?" The young man stopped. He turned to look at Charlie, his blue eyes studying him carefully. For a moment, he said nothing. Charlie shifted uncomfortably. He expected the usual reaction, either an excuse, a sigh, or just silence as the person walked away. But this time was different. The young man reached into his pocket. Charlie felt a flicker of hope. Maybe he would actually get $1 this time. Then something shocking happened. The young man pulled out his wallet, opened it, then laughed. Charlie's face turned red. His heart sank. Was this guy making fun of him? "You're asking me for $1?" the young man said, shaking his head. Charlie felt humiliated. He lowered his eyes, gripping the straps of his tattered backpack. "Forget it," he muttered. "I shouldn't have asked." But the young man didn't walk away. Instead, he knelt down so that they were eye level. "I'm not laughing at you," he said, his voice calm. "I'm just surprised." Charlie looked up. "I was just thinking," the young man continued, "about how different our lives are. You're here, asking for $1, and I've never had to ask for anything in my entire life." Charlie frowned. He didn't understand where this was going. Then the young man pulled out a thick stack of cash from his wallet. Hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars. Charlie's eyes widened. "Here," the young man said, holding the money out. Charlie flinched. I can't take that." "You can," the young man insisted, "and you will." Charlie shook his head. "Why?" the young man smiled. "Because my name is Barron Trump, and I've been given everything in life. Maybe it's time I give something back." Charlie's breath caught in his throat. Barron Trump? The son of one of the richest men in the world? He felt his hands tremble as he reached for the money. The bills were warm, real. His mind spun. This was more money than he had seen in years. But Barron wasn't finished. "I don't want to just give you money," he said. "I want to help you." Charlie's eyes filled with tears. No one had ever said that to him before. Barron pulled a business card from his pocket and placed it on top of the stack of cash. "This is my personal assistance number," he said. "You call tomorrow. We'll get you cleaned up, find you a place to stay, and help you get back on your feet." Charlie clutched the money and the card, his heart pounding. This couldn't be real. People didn't do things like this. Why are you helping me?" he whispered. Barron stood up, looking down at him with a small smile. "Because everyone deserves a second chance," he said. "Even me." And with that, he walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Charlie sat there, staring at the money and the card in his hands. For the first time in years, he had hope.